precious piece of history is now back where it belongs with the family in Parksville. The collection of war medals was found in 2009 during an RCMP raid on a suspected drug house in Surrey. Well, it took 2 years and unrelenting determination, but finally, those family heirlooms have been returned. CTV's Chandler Grieve has the story.
The defense medal.
If only these medals could talk, and if only they knew the time and trouble it took to return them to Paul Jackson. Paul didn't fight in the Second World War, but his grandfather did, and a phone call finally brought these medals home.
He said, "It's a long story, but are you Arthur Bird's grandson?" I said, "Yeah." Arthur Bird was in Ontario, and he said, "Well, we've recovered some medals."
Investigators had finally tracked down Paul. The ultimate lost and found story started back in 2009 when a raid on a suspected drug house in Surrey turned up these medals. Just one problem: there was no way of finding out who these medals belonged to.
And after a certain time, I guess some evidence gets destroyed or sold at auction or disposed of somehow. And the guy sitting around thought, you can't get rid of Canadian war medals. That's just not right.
The search took investigators all the way to New Brunswick.
So I remembered reading somewhere that there was, in fact, a way to match up a serial number to a man's name.
And it was that serial number that changed everything.
Through one medal, there's a serial number on the back, and through records, they managed to find it was my grandfather. And those are his medals. And also they have on their Legion records is his obituary. And when that popped up come my mom's name, and from there the trace started.
So from the original home in Ontario to Surrey to a reference check in New Brunswick and now home in Parksville, these medals have had quite the journey, much like the man who earned them.
Did lay in the trenches with the fighting men. And the one interesting story that I remember is when my grandfather was originally coming to Canada from Ireland. He was getting a ride down to the docks to get on the boat to head to Canada, and he missed the boat. And it's a good thing he missed the boat, because that was the Titanic.
Paul thinks his grandfather, who passed away 40 years ago, would be smiling somewhere, knowing his war medals have returned home.
Well, he gave up part of his life, his health, for the country, and I think he was very proud of it.
Paul says from now on, these medals are going to be kept in a very safe spot. Chandler Grieve, CTV News, Parksville.